that as well. But right now, Michael, why don't you get in right away to this mushroom
What do you mean
salad?
me? That's you.
Okay,
You need to get into
tell me
this
what
here
do I
now.
need to
So
do?
what has to happen is this, that when you make a dish, you really got to think of a couple different things. As we're talking about attention span through the whole night already, your taste buds do the same thing. You can eat something that really tastes great, but if it's the same thing again and again and again, the same texture again and again and again, you want to wake it up. How do you do that? So as I totally agree, do not buy any, you don't need to buy vinaigrettes made up from the store. Have some nice olive oil, have a beautiful, or any oil, a hazelnut oil we have here right now too, and beautiful vinegar. So what we're gonna start with today, right now, is with mushrooms. And mushrooms right now, and I wish I had some nice chanterelles, but we already ran out of them. It's a very hard year right now for the wild mushrooms to come up. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna have some shiitake, we have some oysters, and we have some cremini mushrooms. And of course, we're gonna save the stem, as I said before. There is waste and there's scraps. This one can make a beautiful mushroom stock. So what we're doing is breaking up the mushrooms, just like that. And you can take pretty much any mushroom out there that is there. It will make a beautiful vinaigrette out of it. So you're just breaking it, exactly, just like that, naturally. You don't even have to use the knife for it, not for this. But we're also gonna use some oyster mushrooms, where we just can use the entire cap right on that. If they become a little too big, we're just gonna break them, and it looks more natural if you let it be like this, instead of having everything to be beautifully diced and sliced and everything else. Then we have some cremini mushrooms. If you want to use, get a cremini and then use the knife again, like Julia said. And that, by the way, any chef's gonna show you exactly like what you did on TV too. It's not gonna change, that technique stays. Have your finger on the steel and cut down. So the moment you become, and you start, as we talked about, mastering it, it goes a little bit faster because your eyes don't have to wait. A human body is not really well equipped when it comes to reaction. So from your eyes to your brain to your fingers, it takes way too long. And you have in the kitchen, you don't have a lot of time. You take time. That's always what people say. You don't have it. Beautiful mushroom mix, but this could have been any mushroom. Could be portobello, could be oysters, could be cremini, could be anything. So we have beautiful, actually this is Saratoga, right here in Burlington. You can buy it right on Church Street.
Local olive oil, that's great.
But the olives weren't local. Maybe they can't do this in Vermont. Our weather's a little too rough up here. Seasoning, salt, pepper. Okay, toss it up. Mix in some beautiful mixed herbs. Here we have some tarragon and parsley. Again, just to add some flavor to it. You're just gonna toss this gently, and you add it onto a sizzle sheet pan, and you roast it in the oven, nice and slow, at approximately 350 degrees, until they're nice and brown. That's the magic of this oven.
And through the magic of that oven,
That's right. Those mushrooms are
quickly.
beautifully cooked. Now, from here you can go in all different directions. I mean, you can make a mushroom strudel. You can put them into pretty much anything. You could have made, actually in the quiche Lorraine, it asks for bacon, but you could make it with the mushrooms. Since you're a vegetarian, that's a perfect way to do it. Now, for the salad itself, I want some, as we talked about before, I need a little crunch in there. I like some crunch in it. The way we're gonna get this is with hazelnuts, toasted hazelnuts. Now, if you got some strong thumbs, you can just take it on a cutting board, crush it down.
Yeah, I was going to use the
that's
knife,
it.
but you can...
You can use the knife, just please don't cut yourself, just put it right back on there. We're just gonna use a little bit afterwards. And of course,
I don't have strong thumbs, apparently.
Again, well, use the knife if you want. You can just crush it with it. There you go, look at that.
Can I eat one?
You know, go ahead. Okay. Now, we use some local, this one's from Hazendale.
I just had to come over because, you know, this looks so good.
And you can smell it.
I know,
it's
it's
just like
driving
the
me crazy.
mushrooms in itself, it's just such a beautiful
I'm
thing.
a hands-on kind of cook. I wanted to be here with you.
And while you're showing Ann how to do this, we want to remind folks that we'll be going to the next segment of the classic French chef, which will be talking about apple tarts. And we want to remind you of that, to stay tuned for that while we're making this lovely mushroom salad from the last segment. And also, we're going to show a little teaser now, so let's take a look.
And you can serve these tarts either hot, warm, or cold. It doesn't make any difference. And there you are. You just take a spatula and just slip it off. You're going to see when I serve it that this really makes such a much nicer dessert than something that's in a pie shell.
Cool. Okay, we're back, and he's working on this wonderful mushroom salad that we were talking about. And please continue to show Ann, because I think you've shown me everything that I need to do as long as I have these wonderful hazelnuts.
You just focus on that. So, beautiful salad.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
As I said before, you need something to complement the dish. And the quiche Lorraine has already the dough itself, I mean the pie crust. It already has a little bit of a bite to it, but we want to add to it. So we have a little spicy. So we have some beautiful baby arugula. We're going to use some of our hazelnuts. And again, always, as I said, buy local. Please do the effort. Go down the street, and people ask, what's in season? That's a very silly question in itself. If you go to a farmer's market, they're everywhere. Go talk to a farmer. Although some of them have funny accents, you will understand what he's telling you, because that's what he does. He's passionate about it.
Yeah.
So he wants to sell us. And I have about 35 farmers all around Vermont that make these things for a restaurant. And they're just absolutely out of this world, because they're just as passionate about it as I am. So when you get a cheese, when you get arugula, when you get as beautiful of lettuce, like someone's proud of it, that is something to look at. It's just, for the chef, for me, it makes my life so much easier when I start with great products.
And that's what's so important, not only buying local and using local, but it's much like Vermont Public Television. Our local products, our local community, our local programming that brings us back to this type of quality local programming, talking about the local farmers and the local products that you use in your restaurant and on your table.
Right.
And it is so important that if that's important to you, you'll go to your phone right now and dial the number that we've been putting on our screen, and take advantage of those wonderful thank you gifts that we've been talking about all evening, that goes along with this wonderful celebration of Julia Child's 100th birthday. But Michael, this is terrific. So now what are we doing now that we've got the arugula and the hazelnuts?
So the arugula, the hazelnuts, we use some hazelnut oil just to add this beautiful flavor to it. A little bit of sherry vinegar, just a touch.
I love sherry vinegar.
And there you go, a little salt, a little pepper. Again, we need to season it. All right. That's all. And see what you were talking about before too. When you can either watch TV and then turn it off, and now you feel sillier and dumber than before you turned it on. And then you watch Vermont Public Television or something that's education, and you turn it off and you feel smarter. You just learned something. And television can be like that. You watch it and you learn, and it's just like in school, and you got to give it the respect, and you got to listen, just like to your teachers, or else you're not going to learn.
That's right.
So
it's all part of the getting involved with Vermont Public Television, the educational background that we have, and all of these recipes, as we've been saying, are on our website at vpt.org, and also you can find them in the book, the wonderful book that we've been offering for your thank you gift as a pledge of $120, the Mastering the Art of French Cooking. So
let's finish this up. Also, what I do love to do with salad is put some herbs in there. I like a little parsley in there, not too much. You don't want to just taste all parsley, but if you want to pick a couple of leaves of parsley there, that'd be great. There you go. So all you gotta do is just grab the leaves, make sure you wash it, because it comes off the dirt. And something else too. Please, 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 take your children out to a farm.
Yep.
And see how it goes and what they're doing out there. And again, it teaches just a beautiful amount of respect from what the farmer's doing. So we just add the salad. We have a nice piece of the quiche.
That is appetizing.
That looks
Voila.
terrific.
Oh, that looks so gorgeous.